Namaste everyone. Welcome to Flutter Engage India live stream. Hope you are all having a great evening. I'm Ishan from the Flutter India team, and firstly, on behalf of everyone on our team, I would like to thank all of you for giving such a huge, overwhelming response for this event. Your thoughts, feedback, and appreciation really motivates us to push our limits. Students, software developers, Flutter companies, as well as everyone else can take advantage of this online event, as we will be having speakers who are experienced with freelancing, managing projects at a large scale, and can give you a broader perspective of the market scenario. If you are a company or a product manager, this event could help you to decide whether it would be beneficial for you and your teams to switch to Flutter or not. Overall, we have got some amazing sessions lined up for you today, and we hope it would be a fun and learning experience for you. Now, first of all, this event was made possible by a mega collaboration between more than 16 local Flutter communities spanning across India. Look at the screen in front of you and see if your city has one or not. If you are able to spot yours and haven't connected with them, you can find the same list on our Flutter India website to get in touch with them. These communities have put endless hours into weeks of preparation that all sum up to this very moment today. Now, before we begin, here are a few very important things to keep in mind. Firstly, be nice, respectful, and constructive while interacting with fellow members on YouTube live chat or social media. Please refrain from posting any adult content, rude or offensive statements, especially advertisements or spams of any sort are strictly prohibited. And in case you're found harassing someone or failing to abide by this code, you will be blocked right away from interacting on the chat and future Flutter India events. Okay, and in case you find anyone who is not abiding by the rules or harassing someone, then you can just report to us at indiaflutter@gmail.com. In short, just be decent and just try to be the best version of yourself. Now, a few tips which you can use to take full advantage of the event. First of all, try to see if you can keep a notepad or a pen right next to you so you can take notes of any important information. And since this is a 2-hour long event, so to make sure that you don't get dehydrated, keep a bottle of water nearby. And this is a live event. So in case you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the live chat or using hashtag AskFlutterIndia on Twitter. Our moderators will surely review and pick up your questions. Now, let's move to the schedule we have for today. Wait, Dash, what are you doing here? I have been traveling all over the world after the Engage event. Listen, buddy, I'm in the middle of something. Can we please talk later? You people in India have such amazing food. Yes, that we do. We do have some very delicious Indian cuisines. Wait, Dash, why are you showing me these pictures? They are making me feel tempting and I'm already hungry. What are you trying to say? To appreciate that, I'm doing a giveaway for the complete Flutter reference book and the 2021 Flutter Development Bootcamp by Angela Yu. Wow, okay, that's nice. For the attendees, Dash here is trying to say that he loved our Indian food, and to appreciate that, he's doing a giveaway for these courses and this book. Okay, that sounds interesting. It sounds like something I would like to get my hands on. Dash, how can I participate? Okay, so the rules for participation are really simple. You just have to go to Twitter and you have to answer these questions by writing a tweet using hashtag Flutter Engage India. And the questions are, first of all, you have to tell us how this book or course can help you in learning Flutter. And then what was your first Flutter app that you built? And thirdly, and most importantly, you have to tell us your passion for learning and sharing your knowledge with others. Also, make sure you follow our Twitter handle @IndiaFlutter so that we can get in touch with you in case you win. Good luck. Now, finally, moving on to our schedule, we have these 3 sessions lined up for you. Firstly, we will be having a Flutter Engage recap, which will be a quick summary of the Flutter Engage keynote. Second, it will be followed up by Why Flutter in 2021, a session by Mr. Pawan Kumar. And lastly, we will be having a live Q&A with Filip from Flutter team at Google. So let's start with the first one. These people, Maliha, Ayush, Himanshu, and Sunny, they represent one or other local Flutter communities in India, and they have prepared a summary of the Flutter Engage keynote. Now, let's welcome them. Over to you guys.
You for joining. Flutter Engage event happened on 3rd March, and if there were so many new updates. And if you were not able to join there, we are here for a quick recap. So I'm Sunny Prasad from Flutter Ahmedabad. I'm a Flutter developer at Aubergine Solutions. And with me I have Ayush, Himanshu and Maliha.
Hey everyone, so glad to be here. I'm Ayush Birwani, co-organizer of Flutter Vadodara and software developer engineer at Frontier.
Hello everyone, this is Maliha Nan, co-organizer of Flutter Valsad. I'm a final year engineering student at Dhanamsi Desai University and currently interning at BNY Mellon Technology.
Hello everyone, I am Himanshu Sharma, organizer of Flutter Chandigarh, a third year CF student and a community writer. So since team recently tweeted that there are a lot of new adopters of Flutter after the release of Flutter 2.0. So Ayush, can you tell everyone about what Flutter is?
Sorry Manshu. Flutter is a UI toolkit by Google for building the beautiful applications that can run on mobile, desktop and web. That also using a single code base. How cool is that, right?
That is very cool actually. And since we all know that with Flutter 2, we have so many new features available. So Sunny, which is your new favorite feature? And also that we know that you come from a Xamarin background. How is your experience developing Android applications with Flutter?
Yes, Maliha. So, coming from Xamarin background, the most favorite feature in Flutter for me is widgets. I was able to increase my productivity using widgets, and widgets let you build any kind of beautiful UI and complex animations, and still your app will perform very well. Uh, so let's talk about improvements in this area. So in the widget section, we have few new widgets that will help you add some value. So the first one is autocomplete. So till now we had to use a package to create an autocomplete text field, but from now on this has been implemented inside Flutter SDK, and you can use directly without a package. The next one is Scaffold Messenger. So, Scaffold Messenger helps you mitigate all the issues that we were facing while working with Snackbar. So, and there is another one. So, recently, Microsoft has been contributing to Flutter SDK to support devices like Microsoft Surface Duo, devices which have multiple screens and they are foldable. So, they are rising in market. So Flutter will be able to support these kind of devices, and we have some APIs and widgets for it. So from now on, developers will be able to check whether this current device, the device that app is running on, of is of different kinds of device which has a hinge or a dual display or all the things. And if they want to improve users experience by uh, using the additional screen space wisely, they can use two pane widget to do that. So I am sure that users will appreciate, sorry, developers will appreciate porting the current application, modifying the current applications to this new device class.
Yeah, that is amazing. So also, as you all know, preserving your app's user interface is one of the things to provide a good UX. So Ayush, can you tell everyone about the update in the presence of the app state?
Definitely, this is one of my favorite feature in the stable channel right now. Preserving your app's user interface when it is scaled by the operating system to free resources helps you to maintain the illusion that your app is running always in the background. With the help of state restoration, you will be able to preserve your application's user interface seamlessly.
Right, guys. So let me move on to a different area. So I like iOS designs. So the kind of design we get while using apps on iPhone or any any devices from Apple ecosystem. So I know that there are widgets that let you create apps that look and feel like native iOS. So, are there any improvements or addition in this area with in Flutter Engage?
Yes, in iOS we have new widgets with this release. So there is the Cupertino search text field for creating an iOS search bar UI. And we also have Cupertino form section, form row, and text form field row widgets, which are used to create validated forms with the section visual aesthetics like that of iOS. So now it is very easy to create applications that look and feel native like iOS. So yeah, that's new in iOS.
Yeah, thank you so much for the valuable information, Malia. Since Flutter 2 has the web support on the stable branch, can I call myself as a web developer now?
Yes, of course, you can call yourself a web developer. So Flutter just released a stable version of web, and now it covers the scenario of expanding your existing mobile application to the web. Apart from this, they have also released some new features, some web specific feature, and it is now possible for your user to reach your app anywhere with just a click of a URL. So now we have routing updates to gain control over the URL in the address bar. Also, we have a new link widget in URL package, which enables user to deep link to anchors or to any external website. Also, we can now select, copy, and paste the text with the help of selectable text and editable text widgets. So you can definitely call yourself a web developer now.
That's great. And we know that currently many web frameworks provide a default support for progressive web apps. So is there any such support for Flutter as well? Like, can we make web applications that are PWAs in Flutter?
Yes, Maliha. Flutter also provides PWS support by default. So, for those who do not know what PWA is, if you go to Twitter's website or Flipkart's website, from phone, you will be able to add the website as on home screen. Add it as an app, and it will behave exactly like an app, and it will give you a very nice experience and make you feel at home. So that kind of experience is possible with Flutter out of the box. So this is a very big plus point for picking up Flutter if you want to build your web apps.
Perfect, perfect. So as I said earlier, I'm a big fan of Flutter Web. So I did try the new updates, and I'm not gonna lie, it did surprise me. So what do you think that has helped the team to achieve such a performance boost?
So for improving performance for web, we have two renderers, the HTML renderer and the Canvas kit. So HTML renderer has a lesser code size, and Canvas kit is more efficient for rendering intensive graphics. So by default, the HTML renderer is used for mobile browsers and Canvas kit is used for desktop browsers, but you can explicitly define which renderer you want to use according to your needs. Also, we have Flutter Plasma demonstrating these rendering capabilities in web. So you may want to check that out.
Right. Okay. So as we all know that with Flutter 2.2, we are now getting support for all the platforms, including web and desktop now, the total of 6 platforms. So let's talk about desktop. So, what are updates for desktop? Because with desktop you have a completely different what do you call it? Screen sizes and input types. You do not have touch inputs. Most of the users in the world will have a mouse and keyboard attached to their computers. So, how does Flutter accommodate that?
Okay, so there are a lot of updates for desktop. So some of them are like scrollable and reorderable list view now works better with the mouse input device. And also dragging with a high precision pointing device now starts immediately. So you can easily drag and drop your object in your desktop application using Flutter.
Okay, that's a great information. Thank you so much. But as we have talked about different platforms that Flutter support as of now, so what about the accessibility on those platforms?
Right, Himanshu. So accessibility is a very important feature for any toolkit, and Flutter did have accessibility support on for when you are building for mobile devices, Android and iOS. Uh, but but now with Flutter Web and Desktop in stable, we have accessibility support for web and desktop also. So what does this mean? This means that people with users with special needs can use tools like Narrator on Windows or VoiceOver on macOS or TalkBack on Android to easily get help reading out or understanding your app's layout and interacting with it. So this is a great addition and an important one.
Perfect, perfect. So if I remember correctly, so in the past someone was able to run the Flutter app on Raspberry Pi. So are there any further updates on it?
So not on Raspberry Pi, but Toyota is experimenting to use Flutter in their vehicles' infotainment systems. So we can soon expect cars that use Flutter on their dashboards.
So that is great news. Looks like we are heading into future where we can build for more than more than these platforms, and we'll be building apps that run on our cars. That is cool and crazy at the same time. Okay, so now we know that there are so many different platforms that Flutter runs on, and now we need a way to uh, to make sure that our applications work on these different screen sizes, display densities, and these variations across different kinds of devices. So, is there any? I mean, we already had something called Media Query and so many different widgets to help with that. But do we have an example where I can go and look at the best practices and methodologies to build adaptive apps for all six platforms?
Uh, yes. We do have an example to display the Flutter portability, which is Flutter Folio by Zscaler. So do check it out. Someone will pin the repo link in the live chat and test it out. So it works fine with all the devices.
That's awesome. I guess we can call ourselves full stack front end developers now.
I guess definitely.
Also, Ayush, what about the performance of the application? Like, are there any updates like such that Dart helps optimize our applications in some way?
Yes, one of my favorite features in the new release is null safety because now you don't have to worry about the null dereference errors on the runtime. As you all know, when we were learning Java, we used to get the null pointer exception errors, right? So that can be avoided in Dart with the null safety. The Dart analyzer will now give you static errors while editing your application or the code. With the null safety, our programs can be smaller and faster because Dart compiles is sure that your variables cannot be null and it can remove all the null checks on the runtime.
Perfect, perfect. So I have a query regarding null safety. So most of us in the live chat might have built projects in the past using Flutter. So how can I opt into null safety and migrate seamlessly?
Yes. So if we talk about migrating, we have two areas where we have to focus. So in our projects, we have a lot of plugins, and we have to make sure that all our plugins are supporting null safety, and then we have to migrate our own code to null safety. So to help with that, Flutter team has introduced a few tools, and let me show you here. Yeah, so you may want to use this command dart pub outdated with flag mode is equal to null safety. It will tell you all the dependencies that are out of date and can be upgraded to support null safety. And if you want to upgrade them, you can run another command dart pub upgrade with flag null safety. It will upgrade all your packages which are supported by null safety. in your PubSpec YAML. Now comes the time for upgrading, migrating your own code which you have written. To do that, we have another tool. You just have to write dart migrate in your command line, and this tool will try to analyze your code and give you some suggestions to help you migrate. So let me show you that. So it will look like this. This will open in a web browser, and you can explore your code and the suggestions that tool is giving you. You can look at the suggestions and look at the comments why that suggestion was made, alter them if you want to, and then you can click apply migration on the top, and it will apply all those changes directly into your code, and then you can move further and try to run your app again, and now you are officially migrated your code to null safety. So it is pretty simple experience and pretty easy one. So you are getting a lot of performance benefits in return. So that is great.
Definitely, Sunny. This is a seamless experience for the developers, right? To migrate our application to null safety with just using commands. So as a developer, we also depend on a lot of packages and plugins. And since now we are moving towards the null safety, are there any updates in this area?
Yes, there are many updates and plugins. So because we want to use null safety, we want our packages to be compatible with that too. So many packages have been moved to null safety now. For example, for Firebase users, the most popular Firebase plugins, they have been improved and now have null safety support, and also some added documentations and tutorials. Then we have the Flutter Community Plus plugins. These were initially developed by the Flutter team, and now they have full null safety support with, again, new documentations and some fixes. And we also have some packages that are marked as Flutter favorites. So you may want to check them out. Also, we have a tool called pub.green from CodeMagic that is used to check whether a version of a package is compatible with your Flutter version or not. So you no longer have to write it down in your application and then find out that it won't work. So that is a very useful tool. And last but not the least, we have Sentry, who announced a new SDK for Flutter applications. This helps in crash analytics. And with this, you can now get real-time notifications of errors on Android, iOS, or native platforms.
Great. So these are a lot of updates till now, and I see that null safety is everywhere, and there are many new tools. So after all these efforts and everything, developers may want to monetize their apps after all this hard work, and so how do they monetize their applications which they have built with this hard work?
Okay, so Flutter just announced a Google Mobile Ads SDK. With that, we have the most requested inline banner and native ads in the addition to the existing overlay formats. So with this plugin, we will get a unified support for Ad Manager and Ad Mob. For an example, Suba Musica, the largest Latin American music platform, is an early customer of this plugin. They launched their application using Flutter and with this plugin and saw a tremendous increase in their reach. So you can definitely check it out and test your application for monetization.
That's great. I guess it is now very easy to add ads in your applications as well. Also, as a developer, we spend more time debugging our code than actually writing it. So it is only natural to expect some updates in dev tools as well. So are there any updates there?
Yeah, there are a lot of updates in the details. So as a Flutter developer, we all know the most frustrating thing while making a complex UI is render flex overflow issues, right? Like we all have faced this issue, and we are not sure what is the source of the error actually. So basically, the layout inspector explorer help us to figure out the source of the issue and also suggest a solution. In the new update, instead of only debugging the only flexible layouts, you can also debug the fixed layouts. So that is really a cool thing. Apart from that, now in DevTools, we also support the flexible layouts. So that is really a cool thing. So as a Flutter developer, we all know the most frustrating thing while making a complex UI is render flex overflow issues, right? Like we all have faced this issue, and we are not sure what is the source of the error actually. So basically, the layout inspector explorer help us to figure out the source of the issue and also suggest a solution. In the new update, instead of only debugging the only flexible layouts, you can also debug the fixed layouts. So that is really a cool thing. have support to know whether we are using images with high resolution than the actual display size. This will help you to track down the memory usage and also to improve your performance of the application and reduce the APK size or the your application size. In the dev tools, you can simply click on the invert oversize images to use this feature. If you can see on the screen on the left hand side, I have an original image, and when I've clicked on the invert oversize image, it has inverted my image on the right hand side, and it has also given me a message in the log, as you can see, has a display size of some pixels, but a decoded size of some pixels, which uses an additional some KB, which is really helpful to improve to track down your memory usage. To know more about the updates in the dev tools, head over to the link shared in the comments, and you can also give updates about the new features you want in the dev tools.
Perfect. So far we have covered a lot of updates from platform, plugins, dev tools, and a lot more. So now let's talk about IDEs and code editors. So what is your favorite IDE or code editor? Mine is VS Code.
VS Code.
VS Code.
I feel I feel left out here over here because I love Android Studio and IntelliJ IDs.
Okay, so someone can support you. So everyone, just share your thoughts on the ID, share it in the live chat. And further talking about this, can you please share the new updates in the IDs or any extension?
Yes, Himanshu. So whether you are using VS Code or IntelliJ based IDEs like Android Studio or IDEA, there are updates for everyone. So the if I talk about my favorite one, so this one is so from now on, your IDE will try to give you suggestions to fix common issues in your code, and you can apply the changes just by selecting one of the suggestions from in the IDE. So that's that, and other than that, now your IDE will also help you with code completion while editing your YAML files. So we do not have to be very careful when working with our YAML files, PubSpec YAML, analysis options, and many other. So those are two great features. uh, Other than that, uh, if you are an IntelliJ based IDE user, then if then from now on you'll be able to see a new project wizard, and in that you will see a section where you can select which platforms do you want to support for this new project. So we now have 6 platforms, and you have a lot of options there. So that is a great thing. And technically, if we go ahead, so there is language server protocol support in Dart now, and this will help other IDEs and plugin developers use this feature and create new plugins and complex tooling for us. So in future, we are going to see a lot of new contribution in this area from community also.
That's great. That should make our lives a lot easier now. So a lot of information that we covered in these 25 minutes. And if you want to see any of them in more detail, there are 12 community talks available on flutter.dev. So you may want to see them.
So I want to thanks all the committee members who have come along this way, who have helped to create issues, file issues, and also raise some PRs to improve the Flutter. So thank you so much for helping the community.
And do upgrade to 2.0 and try these amazing new features. And let us know which one is your favorite via Twitter or in this live chat.
Right. So finally, now we are wrapping up this session, and let me lead back to you, Ishan, who will lead you to all the things we have for you this evening. So thank you everyone for joining, and back to you, Ishan.
Thank you, Maliha, Ayush, Himanshu, Sanivya, and everyone involved in the recap for taking out the time to share their learnings and insights from the event. It was incredibly helpful, and personally, I really liked the way that instead of just being an infographic session, it was more like having a group chat with four of my Flutter friends. It's been a pleasure to watch you all. Now, moving back to our schedule for today, we are done with the first session. Next up is Why Flutter in 2021 by Mr. Pawan Kumar. Our speaker, Mr. Pawan Kumar, will be sharing some key insights into the capabilities of Flutter, the market perspective, freelancing opportunities with Flutter, and many more. And he's a guy who really needs no introduction. Most of you here might already know him. He's a Google developer expert for Flutter and Firebase, and also runs a YouTube channel named MTech Viral. Along with that, he recently started his own community, codepool.dev. Personally, I started my journey with Flutter over an year ago by watching his tutorials on YouTube. And it's a pleasure to have him today with us. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming him. Over to you, Pawan.
Hi everyone. Thank you first of all to Flutter India team for inviting me here, and I hope I am audible enough and you can see me as well. So today we will talk about why Flutter in 2021. I know 2020 is something which I guess all of us suddenly missed, and we are happy that we jumped from 2019 directly to 2021. So we will talk about why Flutter in 2021. And I'll start with my presentation. It will be a very small one, by the way, so don't worry about that because not a huge fan of presentation myself. Let me just try this. And yes. So let me know if you can see the presentation. Second. I'll just try to present here. Yes. So, if you have any questions like, will Google kill Flutter? Then this is the video for you. If you have questions like, what will happen if I will run my current application to Flutter Web? Then what will happen? Then again, this particular presentation is for you. And if you have questions like, what else I can do with Flutter? What are the things which happened with Flutter 2.0? Although these guys have already given you so many quick recaps of what happened in Flutter 2.0, but I'll try to touch some other points which are probably something which you will love to hear more. So let's start with something like what who I am. So I am a GD for Flutter Firebase, and I run a YouTube channel called Tech and Codepool. And also I work at Frontier as a head of mobile engineering team. So before we start, if Google will kill Flutter or not, or what's happening with Flutter, let's talk about the market right now, because we are talking about why Flutter in 2021. So we need to understand the market as well, right? So if you see this particular picture, then you can see how the app economy has been increasing. So it was 1.31 trillion in 2016, I guess, and then it is now jumping like n number of times. You can just see the numbers. And now, if we also talk about the number of app downloads in worldwide, then you can also see the graph how it's been increasing. And this is like we are here just talking about Android and iOS app, right? I'm not even talking about web, because if you remember, Flutter was primarily when it came to alpha, primary goal was to target Android and iOS, and now Flutter can do much more than that. We'll talk about it. But Android and iOS has been the primary factor when it comes to mobile apps. These are the two operating systems which you will see a lot wherever you will go. Even you might be having one of these operating system in your hand right now. So let's see what else. So if you see the mobile app session length, then also you can see the app session length is much more than mobile web length these days, especially when you're using mobile phones. And why I am even showing you this, because this is very interesting. Why? If we see that how or why people prefer applications, why they say that okay, they like applications more because it makes their life easier. It there are very clear instruction what to do with your application. Then it has a better design and aesthetics, and then experience is also really good, user experience as well, UI design as well. And then there is something new all the time, right, when you interact with any application. And then applications can also work on offline mode, although web is definitely something which now PWA is coming, so definitely offline is also possible, but we'll talk about that as well. But there is a catch. Now, what are the challenges, right? What are the challenges which business or any company is feeling in when it comes to developing mobile apps? So you will see what is that whenever a business starts, right, they have always lesser time. So time to market is one of the things, fragmentation is another, agility, hiring, engagement. It's very difficult to hire developers these days, especially if you have multiple applications for different platforms. And then you have to test things, you have to create prototypes, and then you will go to your end user. So all these things becomes messy, right? And then now what you will target, like if you have a product, what you will target, you will probably target, that you can build and release your application for Android as well. And because iOS devices are getting very much popular these days, so you won't want to miss iOS as well, right? So iOS is there. And then if it is possible, then it will be good if someone does not have access to mobile phones, then if they can also consume your content on web. Okay. And desktop is also one option, but I think these three are the most important ones, which definitely becomes one of the things which you will plan to target for all kind of users. And then when like you have different code bases, then hiring becomes even difficult because you have to hire different people for managing different code bases. And then the release cycles become difficult, and all these things are like, like when you have to update your application, then also you have to update it like at multiple places, and it becomes sometimes messy. Some things you miss here and there, and one platform works fine, the second problem platform has some issue. So what is the solution of all these things? And this problem still exists in 2021, so what we can do with this? So that's when I would say that what comes into the picture is two. What is two? It's Flutter 2.0 to the rescue. Why Flutter? Because Flutter gives you a lot of things. It's beautiful in terms of UI UX. It is fast. Like you can do n number of things using the features like hot reload, and a lot of experiments you can do because of that. And like I have been an Android developer initially, and I can tell you the pain when it comes to do iterations in something. Let's say I have to create a design, I have to you know experiment with a lot of colors and a lot of things, and it becomes very difficult. Although I will definitely accept this, that Android development has been becoming better and better, but I still think that Android is going good, but Flutter has better productivity even when compared to Android or iOS. And yes, it's open source, that's a great thing as well. And the community is also very open. You can there are n number of people there to help, n number of content available in terms of blogs, videos, whatever. I am myself a content creator. I can guarantee you that whatever you will want to find, you will definitely find it. And it is portable. So Flutter 2.0 was all about this as well again, because in Flutter Interact we saw the same thing, in Flutter Live we saw the same thing. Then what's new with this Flutter 2.0, right? And how Flutter is helping with these things. So what's new? Now Flutter supports Android, iOS, web, Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. So all of these are kind of available in stable channel, although the support for Linux, Mac OS, and Windows is still in beta, I would say. But web went to stable. We'll talk about it as well in just a moment. What else Flutter did is like they improve the performance and stability. There are some latest UI trend, like there are new widgets which has been added to help the users, and state restoration APIs, which was, I guess, one of the issues there for, I think, at least 3 to 4 years. And yeah, at that time Flutter was not even in stable mode, and there are a lot of other things. Apart from that, we can talk about, foldable support, which was introduced with, like, by Microsoft, has been doing like a lot of good stuff there. Dart 2.12. One thing good about Dart is that, Dart has never stopped. And I remember, like, when I started Flutter, Dart had so many things which were missing, but today I can say almost all of those things which I wanted to be there in the Dart language is there now. And when it comes to like talking to your native code, especially when you have to talk to Android, iOS, and even if with some C code, you have support for Dart FFI, you have platform channels, method channels. All these things really helps a lot, because we are using these things a lot in our company as well, where we are creating a lot of stuff. Now let's talk about Flutter Web. Flutter Web has been something which, I guess, everyone who is involved in Flutter, by either by developing something, or if he is a business person, they wanted it to become stable. What is the reason? Reason is that web is not going anywhere. Like, I heard few years back, web is dying, PHP is dying, and all these things, but still, web is still a need. Then how Flutter can help you? There are definitely some of the things which Flutter right now cannot do or cannot support in the best way, but I think Flutter Web can be really good for PWAs kind of application, or single page applications, where you just need to extend your application which is already there for Android and iOS. Now you want to support web, so that some of your users don't miss your application when they don't have a mobile phone. And it can be useful in so many other scenarios. Obviously, it's still under development, and a lot of other things has been added in last few years, last few months, and a lot of things will be added in maybe next couple of years as well. But yes, it's definitely something promising, and I'm really happy that it went to stable, so that everyone can play with it, everyone can share their ideas, share their feedbacks, and talk about all the issues if they are facing some. And yes, DevTools is definitely one of the things which I personally like the most. I definitely do a lot of other stuff, like monitoring performances, analyzing the size of the application, networking related stuff. So DevTools have some new additional tools inside it, which is like very good. Then some partnerships and contributions, like Microsoft has been contributing, and Canonical, Toyota, all these big brands has been doing something with Flutter. But talking about big brands, we are talking about why Flutter in 2021. What happens with small brands, right? Flutter team did not talk about it, but it's fine. Like, we can do something about it, and I'll show you in a moment. But more or less, if you see, then this is what happened. Like, null safety is definitely one of the things which I'm using like since, I guess, couple of months now, and it's been fantastic. Ubuntu is there. GPay rewrote their app in Flutter. Google Mobile Ads SDK is now available. Toyota is spending time. There are other companies as well. Web support, Flutter plugins. So now it is available for foldable phones, Android, iOS, tablets, web, you name it. So now that means industry grades validate Flutter. Okay, so even Flutter application are there by Google itself. Like, Google has so many Flutter powered apps, like Stadia, Google Pay, Nest Hub, and all these things. Do you still think Google will kill Flutter? I don't think so. And even if Google kills Flutter, then also I would tell you that there are a lot of companies taking interest in Flutter, and it is an open source project. So Flutter is not going anywhere, that I can believe. Now, talking about the companies and beliefs, I have some testimonials which I took from some of the companies, local companies in India. Let's see them, and let's see what they say. So let me just try to play them, and let me know if you can hear them. I think the voice is not available. Let me just try to share the video clip itself. One second. So we have Sanket Sahu from Geeky Ants. It's a company in Bangalore, and let's try to look into what his opinion is about. Can we have this video clip playing?
So about Flutter at Geeky Ants. Uh, we started working with Flutter when it great. So about Flutter at Geeky Ants. Uh, we started working with Flutter when it was in its alpha version, and we were lucky enough to meet the creators of Flutter at the Google HQ. And it came right when we were deep into React Native, and it worked as another framework that could also equally and uh, build, like, really great mobile apps with a great UI toolkit that comes along with Flutter. And it helps us it back then it helped us understand and leverage the native utilities. And the initial experiments that we ran, we built a lot of animation and starter kits that helped us gain uh, some sort of social recognition in the community, and work well to connect with a lot of people from different parts of the world here in India, and in different countries in Europe, indie developers, and like big companies. The early adoption worked really well, and also our experience with React Native helped us adopt Flutter really fast. And the material UI toolkit that comes with Flutter, it's really great because we built something like that for React Native called Native Base, and something like really mature was already available here. And we are really excited what comes up. Flutter 2 is looking really well, and as soon as it becomes a little more stable for web, I know, like, Flutter 2 calls that it's stable for web as well. But I think we are in the mode of experiments with all different platforms, and really excited what's there in the future for us. Thank you so much.
Okay, so you were listening to Sanket. He has been doing a lot of stuff with Flutter. We have another testimonial, and these people are running a good company with so many Flutter developers. So jobs is definitely not an issue if you were wondering that. Let's hear from another guy who is from Flutter Devs. It's another company in Noida, in Delhi NCR, and they have been doing a lot of Flutter work. So let's hear from Jubin what he has to say. Can we just play this video?
We are from Flutter Devs and we've been working with Flutter for more than 3 years. Yes, that's right. We've been working with Flutter when it was in its beta phase. We've successfully delivered more than 50 plus projects, that too in multiple platforms. Flutter has helped us in boosting the app development space because of its multiple development app cycle and multi-platform approach. If you ask me, Flutter has a great scope. Why? Consider a scenario where your one code is able to create applications for both Android, iOS, desktop, web, and even embedded devices. Yes, that's the real beauty of Flutter. We have a team of 50 plus developers who are skilled in Flutter, and they are from mobile and web development backgrounds. We are really excited for what future holds for Flutter. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, that was Jubin, and I requested all of these people to share their opinions about Flutter and what they are doing with Flutter. So really good to hear, and now you can like relate, right? Like how Flutter is helping all these people, and what these companies are doing with Flutter. And last but not the least, we at Frontier, where I work, we have been also doing a lot of stuff with Flutter, and we have been like using so many like things like platform channels, event method channels, and all these things. And trust me, when it comes to Flutter, you can do a number of things, so which is probably not possible with any other, probably like Xamarin, React Native, and all these things, because you can use the native libraries as well. And let me share my screen so that I can just continue from where we were. 1 second. And here we go. Can we have this presentation? Yes. So we at Frontier love Flutter. We have been doing a lot of things related to blockchain, and we everything we were able to do using Flutter as well. We had a lot of integration with so many third-party libraries as well, so many companies as well. Like you might have heard about Harmony, Kava, if you are a blockchain person, Binance, Trust Wallet, and all these things. We have been doing that. So yes, Flutter has worked really well for us. Now, because we are short of time, so I'll just try to give you a short demo that how you can use Flutter with all these things. So let me just share the demo quickly, which I have ready for you. So I was just preparing this 1 second. And okay. So I was just preparing this particular demo where I was creating this tutorial, basically 30 days of Flutter. And if we can have this on a screen, let me just ask the team. Yes. So this is a Flutter application you can see here, which is running on right now. It's a catalog app. We'll just see that. It is right now running, as you can see, on Android and iOS. Let's see how we can run it on web as well, and desktop if possible. Mac OS we can just try. And let me just try with restarting this thing again so that we can see this working. uh, so basically you have to enter a username here, and then you will enter a password, and then you can log in on this application. So we will try entering some username, some password. Let's log in. We have same stuff for, okay, we just logged into this catalog app. It is working pretty well for iOS. Let's see what is happening with Android, if we can run it. Let's try again. Okay, Android, where is my phone? Okay, I have my phone here actually. So you can see we have the same thing on Android here as well. Pawan, and let's say my password, and then I'll just click login. Let's get rid of this. So we can see this application is running here. We can add some item to the cart as well from here. This is the detail screen. So there is some lag because of the lot of things I'm doing, streaming and all these things. So you can see we can add this to cart, and all these things work. Now, if you see the folder structure over here, then you will find that we have right now one folder for Mac OS, but that is blank. Let's delete it because it's not useful. We don't have anything for web. So how we can enable that? Because most of you might be running your project. So what like existing project. So what you can do, you can go to your terminal if you can see it, and you can write something called flutter create dot, which will create all the necessary directories if they are not available for me. So let's run flutter create dot, and then we can see that it will do some work here, and it will try to create maybe the web and Mac OS folder for me. It's taking some time right now, but I think we have still 2-3 minutes. So we'll try to just let's see if it works. So Android and iOS is still working, and because we have web as well and Mac OS with this particular release. So as you can see, my Flutter version is 2.0.1. I am not in beta or master channel. Oh yes, so we got the web folder here, and we got the Mac OS folder as well. Let's try to run it on web now. So Pixel 4 XL I have selected. Let's select Chrome, and or maybe we can run it from the terminal itself. So let's try Flutter run device Chrome. Let's try this command and let's see if it runs on Flutter for web. And we can also run on Mac OS, but I have some images which are actually coming from server. So I have to go to settings of Mac OS application, and I have to enable what we call as, let me just try if we can do that here. Okay, open in Xcode. So Mac OS also, I think we can open in Xcode. Now let's open the iOS one in Xcode. So basically you have to enable the outgoing connections or incoming connections if you want to do some network related stuff. In the meanwhile, our app is running on Chrome and we are just running short of time, but I'll just try to run it as soon as possible. And it was running just fine, trust me, before the presentation. But now because we are doing live, so there is some lag happening because of a lot of things, like we are streaming, we are running 3 to 4 devices. Let's just give a moment and let's see what happens. Okay, Xcode is finally opened. We will just try to do that change. And 1 second. Chrome is also running. So as you can see, what we did was we just wrote one single line of command and it created web and Mac OS already for us, and we haven't touched any line of code yet. Okay, even though we can do a lot of other stuff if we want for different platforms, but let's see what we get without touching anything. So that is the intention. And um, we are just waiting a little bit because I have a small issue the with the MacBook right now, because it is consuming a lot of stuff. So let's see if we have can do we have 2 more minutes so that we can just make sure things are working and we can just see a demo. Probably iPad is. Let me just open the Mac OS version from here. So I'll just try to run Mac OS in as well at the same time. And because the Chrome one is taking a little bit more time than expected. Um, so let's see if we will be able to run this demo. 2 more minutes we will take. Okay, so Mac OS, let's try this. So what you have to do when you have to deal with some connection related stuff, then you have to go to your Mac OS and then you have to go to your runner, no, this one, and I think you should have the option in signing. Yes. So you can just enable the outgoing connection as well. And now if I'll just try to run this application on Mac OS as well, so that even if our web application doesn't work on time, we can try with Mac OS and we'll see at least things are working or not. So this happens with live demos, they don't work on time. So pardon me if that's what is happening. Okay, I hope 2 more minutes. And I'm sure Philip must be waiting for his turn, but I'm sorry, Philip. Sometimes things does not work. So let's see. Okay. We are still running, guys, and we are still waiting for connections. And okay, oh shit, I just pressed. We didn't selected Mac OS. Okay, let's select Mac OS as well. So it's just a matter of moment when we will. So you can just see that my device is a little bit slow right now because I am trying to. Let's do one thing. Let's stop some of the things. Maybe that will help. So let's stop the simulator because you have already seen it's working on iOS and Android. So let's do that so that uh, we can have some more resources for running these things. Okay, we are launching for Mac OS as well. Let's see how much time it takes now. And ideally, it will not take that much time for you, but for some reason, it's taking some time for me. And that happens with MacBooks, unfortunately. But one more minute and it is installing. I can see it is installing the application on Mac OS. So once it is done, we will just jump to Filip, and we are already okay launching Mac OS application. Finally, we can see the Mac OS version at least. Okay, I'm switching very fast because I'm a little bit nervous that why it's not running at the right moment. So even if it does not work, then also I can create another stream. I can share you the code. You can try running by yourself, and I'm sure that you will be able to run it on your computers. And okay, the web version is not gonna work, but we have the folders, and last one is Mac OS. We'll see for next 30 seconds, and if it doesn't work, we will stop it here and we will move to the next one, like the next question answer round with Filip. So last 30 seconds, let's see if one of these responds or not. And okay. Okay. In the meantime, I think if you have any question, you can ask me. If if someone wants to ask any question from the team, please go ahead. And for the 30 seconds, maybe we can do that. Or if we are already out of time, then I think it's still not working. So yes. Okay. So let's see for next 10 more seconds, and then we will jump to questions. Okay, so we have some questions. Let's hear them out. In the meantime, it's running. So I'm sure we are 6 minutes delayed, but I think it should
Hi,
work as soon
sir.
as it will be.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hello again. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your thoughts and perspective. And let's hope the demo runs. So during the session, we were getting a lot of questions in the chat, and we have picked up a few of them, and we were hoping if you could answer those. The
sure,
first
sure.
one we
By the
have,
way, I'm
yeah,
interrupting you 1 second because our looks like our Chrome application has run. And it's here, guys. Let's see if our another one also runs. Yes, Ishan, go ahead.
yes. So the first one we have is how to add search engine optimization or SEO to Flutter web applications.
I think it's an open issue even in Ask Flutter. I think the Flutter team responded very well with this question, and they are working on the SEO part. It's still not done, and that's when there are some restriction with Flutter web application when it comes to SEOs. But yes, right now it's not there, but it will be there. I'm sure after some time, or there is an open issue. You can just go there and you can see what's happening with that.
Okay, very well.
I hope
We
I
have
answered it properly.
yes, thank you for the answer. And we had another question. What are the best practices while choosing packages?
But like while choosing or while creating it.
While choosing, yeah.
Okay, so I think when you want to choose a Flutter package, maybe you will first of all you would like to go to like there are some packages which are Flutter favorites. You can trust on them for sure, and then there are many packages by Google itself or Flutter team itself. So they are very much trustworthy, and there are so many packages with good number of likes. So there is something called scores in pub.dev, which also you can use to identify a package. When it comes to creating them, what can be the best practices is basically a little bit typical question because there are a lot of things involved. But I will say that whenever you are about to create a package, you can probably maybe you can look into other packages as well or plugins that how they are doing the things. So it will become very easy, and all the packages are, most of them are open source, and some of them are also not. Then also you can take a look into into their code, and I think you will find how others are doing it. So yeah, that's what we also do to learn more about how others are maintaining their packages.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for your answer, and I think we have something on the screen.
Yes, we have the demo on Mac OS at least. So let's see if this is working fine. So let's log in here, and I can see the login screen looks fine to me. And we got login done, and we have the catalog app here. And let's see if this works. The image loading can take some time, I guess. Oh, it's working fine. And if I click here, we can see that the animation is also there, but you won't be able to see it because it's a little bit slow. We can add the items to the cart, and the cart is also working fine, and we can remove the items as well, and looks great. In the meantime, the web application has also worked. I guess it will take some time to respond because it initially takes a moment, but we will not wait for here. This code will be available on GitHub, so please check it out. And thank you so much for joining this particular talk, and really happy that the demo worked finally. And yeah, thanks for giving me some time. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Can someone from the team share my? Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for taking the time to join us and for sharing your perspective on such important things. And also, we love the demo, by the way. I'm sure it was a learning experience for all the attendees here, and we are all really looking forward to meet you in in-person events super soon.
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you.
Yeah. With that, we will be moving on. Let's move back to our schedule. So we are done with the first session of today, and we are also done with the second one. Now it's time for a live Q&A with Filip from the Flutter team at Google. So in case you don't know about Filip, he's the creator of the Boring Flutter Development Show, and we in Flutter India team find all of his talks really engaging. It just feels like he's sitting right next to you, and you are having a one-on-one conversation with him with a cup of coffee. Joining him will be Bhavik, who is also a Google developer expert for Flutter and Dart, and one of the co-organizers of Flutter Ahmedabad. And alongside him, we also have Vivek on board with us. He's a senior engineer at Go High Level and also an organizer of Flutter Mobile. Now, please do note that this is live. So in case you have any questions, please feel free to write them either in the YouTube live chat or use hashtag AskFlutterIndia on Twitter. Over to you, Philip.
Oh, hello. Hey,
Hey,
hello, Bhavik. Hello, Vivek.
hey,
Nice.
so glad to see you again over here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me. This is great. And I was watching Pawan right now, and I just want to say how, big respect for him sticking it out to the end and actually having us see the final macOS application. And I'm glad that it worked in the end. And I was very, empathetic for his struggle, because I know what it looks like, what it feels like if you're streaming something and just the computer just doesn't do what you want it to do. Anyway, so yeah, great to be here, and I'm ready for questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go with first question. So this question is actually divided into two parts. So let me put that on screen for you. Okay.
Oh.
So start with how one should decide an architecture to write a package for a design system other than material and Cupertino. Okay.
Oh.
Should they choose to extend from material while modifying the styles rules for the widgets, or they should write their own render objects from scratch?
Okay, that's a very deep question. Thank you. I think it depends on what you are, what your design system is going for, right? I think material package is a good start if you have generally a similar design system in mind as Material. Material is very themable. It is definitely because this is Flutter, you can override anything that's in Material and say like, no, you don't use Material page root, you use Filip page root, and that's going to work just as fine. And in the background, you can use the mixins from Material, you can use code, you can just copy code, so it's fine. I think you could also go all the way from like basic principles, as in start with widgets and that's it, or even render objects. But that I think would make more sense if you're like really trying to do something really custom, like for example, I don't know, like a sci-fi interface or something. Then that would probably make sense, because you would you would know exactly like what everything does, and you would not pay any complexity and performance costs for anything that you don't need. But yeah, I think that's a big project, by the way. Like even just extending Material, if you're really going for a design system, and you have to think about a lot of things, I would think that unless you're doing something really crazy, I would just add new widgets on top of Material, right? And those widgets don't need to really use any of the Material stuff. You can still have a button that is very, very custom, that doesn't use any of the Material buttons, and you can still use them in a Material app, right? So you're not forced to do this. But again, like I'm excited anytime that anyone tells me that they are working on a system like that, because I think these are very exciting.
Yeah. So like using a wrapper as a Material as a wrapper, like gives you one benefit, that whatever is we get update in the Material package itself, we get it right away in the package that we created using a Material wrapper. So it's a kind of a good thing to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So the second question is Flutter fully supported on MacBook M1? Like I would really like to. I did seen the tweets of many Flutter developers, like it works very well. But I'd really like to know from you, and Vivek also uses, so from him as well.
Yeah, I have to say, yeah, I also use my personal devices in one, and it's working well, I think. There's one thing, and that it's all works. There are some issues, and performance is great unless you're using Android Studio, which for me is not that great, because they haven't yet released the version that is Apple Silicon. But I'm hoping to get it soon, and then everything is really smooth.
Okay, so
Yeah,
myself
exactly.
is an the studio fan, so I shall wait.
So yeah, as you know, I'm also Android Studio fan, and when I got this laptop, what I did first thing was to download the Android Studio, and the performance was not very satisfied. But yeah, so at that time I started with VS Code, and now right now I'm using a beta version of Android Studio, and I guess that is quite satisfied, but not yet fully. So yeah, we can go with the M1 for Flutter, but if you are considering Android Studio, as your everything, then you should wait for a month or two.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll ask the next question, and that is about the game. So, what are your thoughts about building games in Flutter, and is it possible to make high-end games?
Okay, so yeah, this is kind of exactly what like that's interesting. I'm actually working on weekends on a game in Flutter, and it is not a high end game because I'm working on it alone. I think if you look at mobile games, especially, there is a category of games that is super successful these days, and these are kind of these casual games that kind of almost look like an app where you like click stuff and there's some kind of strategy, or maybe they're like, find an object or something like this, or puzzles. And these I think are a good fit for Flutter for sure, because you can build them for iOS, Android, and the web and desktop, but also they're basically an app, right? Like if you look at many of the most successful games out there right now, they are apps like experiences. They're not like 60 frames per second, re-rolling all the screen every frame. They're not like that. If you're working on something like that, it's still possible. So if you have like a action game that you really need to redraw the whole frame every frame, then that's possible with Flutter. But I think you're using the wrong tool at that point. Like I have friends who are working on something like this, and I hope that they're successful. But I think they're like Flutter is built on the idea of, the app is, you don't need to rebuild everything every time. The app is mostly static, and then there's animations and stuff like this once in a while, and that's how it works the best. There are things like Unity that are optimized for, I really need to Unity doesn't even let you do anything else than redraw the whole screen every time, and I think that's useful for some games and for some apps. So yeah, it's I really hope that we'll see more of that, because Flutter, even though it's an app framework, because of how it can be performant, how it's very customizable, you really control every pixel. I think it's really a good fit for games. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So the third question is for every developers who are working at companies or they are developing their own application. So it is like, share your experiences while developing and deploying your Flutter application at Play Store and while scaling them.
Right. So I have two experiences that are probably not what you're looking for. One of them is at Google, and that is a very different experience from, I think, most people, right? Because they're like a GPay or Stadia, there's like many engineers working on that particular thing. There's a huge amount of infrastructure at Google that does some things for you automatically, and that's also a lot of infrastructure that you don't need to worry about if you're a single developer or if you're a studio outside Google, because Google really has to, there's a lot of layers. So that's one, and I don't think that's very helpful to think about that unless you're at Google. And the other end of the spectrum is what I say, like it's my games or the game that I'm working on and stuff like that that I learn from people, mostly secondhand though, from other studios. But like the deployment and development experience for me is, I have my workstation. I work on it. I have code. I happen to use CodeMagic.io, but there are many other people who can build your app for you, and I have it set up for both iOS and Android, so that it goes to like an internal version of that, so it deploys to my phone, which is great, and not only mine but also Tester's phone. So whenever I make a change in maybe 20 minutes, I don't need to do anything on my side. I just push it to development. To development branch, and 20 minutes later, I get a notification that a new version of the app is ready. Same with someone who uses like an iOS device, and they have the new version on their screen. Actually, with Apple, you have to go through you have to click like 3 buttons in App Store Connect to get it over. But I think that's like that's the present and future of mobile development, because instead of trying trying to do like deploying it yourself. You just basically upload it somewhere, and then immediately it gets to your device and to testers' devices. I hope
Yeah.
that's helpful. I know that like for a company that would look different and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So like Bhavik works at a startup. So Bhavik, what are your experiences in these things?
Okay, so like for me, I was an Android developer earlier, so I for deploying for the Android is easy stuff for me, but for the understanding the iOS system, it was quite tricky for me. Like the all the flow that you have to create a build runner, then the Xcode is needed one. Like you can't go for Android Studio, or Xcode is needed one for to deploy the application, and then there are lots of process going on, and at the end the review system is quite tough. Like first time for the first time uploader, it's quite tough to go through that review system. I was bit scared when I actually deployed my first application on iOS. So but now I'm it's pretty easy. Like any other applications, I can deploy the iOS and Android applications seamlessly. And like look, I'm just going to learn for the desktop as well now onwards. So yeah. Yeah, so I'll go with the next question. Like so the next question is about what's your thought process behind doing a research for the Navigator 2.0?
Oh, okay. So I'll say that Navigator 2.0, I only, I know about obviously the engineers who were working on that, but I wasn't involved in that particular thing. But I do know that they looked at Navigator 1.0 or just Navigator, and they thought, how can we make basically the design goal for Navigator 2.0 wasn't let's make it easier to use Navigator. It was let's make more things possible with Navigator. So they went all in, and they thought, okay, so how do we make this so that a developer really isn't at all like blocked by anything by the API, and they can do really anything. That means that the other design goal of making it easy had to go down. So right now, and you can ask the engineers, and they will say you the same thing. If you want to use Navigator 2.0 bare without any without any umbrella or without any other package, it's really hard, and it's kind of like a lot of boilerplate and a lot of stuff that you have to write, right? And the hope from the start was, let's make things possible, and then like if you want to do them, you can, but hopefully 90% or 95% of the time you will just go and use a package that wraps around the Navigator. And I know that there are already packages, and I hope that there will be more, because different people need different navigation scenarios. That's the idea, and the design goal for that.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So we have our next question. Like we have lots of developers who are willing to contribute to the Flutter, and so how they can start contributing to it, and from where they start.
Yes. So I wonder, okay, I know that there's a lot of levels, right? Or there's a lot of things that you can do. One of them, for example, and a lot of people forget about that, is good documentation. A lot of the stuff that makes Flutter good is in the documentation. All the API docs, but also the so that's what you find on api.flutter.dev, but also the docs on the website, and also if you're writing articles for on Medium and stuff like that, it also helps, because it helps the community figure something out and then to do that. There's a lot of serendipity in software development where you're like, oh, I didn't know that it even exists. Like how for example, the the widget of the week series, if you're watching that on YouTube, that's a lot of times people comment under the videos of like, I needed this 10 weeks ago or 10 days ago. I didn't know that there's actually a widget for that. So, and that's by design. Nobody reads the whole API for Flutter from start to finish. They just start coding, and that's fine. So we need that kind of serendipity, like oh, I'll write about this, and maybe someone will notice. All right, so that's one. If your code, one thing that I think is something that really is very impactful right now is looking at packages. So packages that are already released, and seeing if you can contribute to that. That's a very large surface. You can pick your way of you can write packages for Bluetooth, or you can write packages for desktop, some widget somewhere. So that's a very, very broad spectrum. And then if you want to contribute to Flutter or Flutter/engine, then I do think that we have, if you look at the issues, there are issues that are marked with a special tag, something like good for beginners, which doesn't mean that you're a beginner developer. It just means that you're a beginner Flutter contributor, and that is stuff that is still you have to install the development everything that you need for development of Flutter itself, and it is involved. You have to go through all the loops of contributing to Flutter, but hopefully that's like a few hours of your time to really get there, and then you can contribute some relatively small fix, and you can start like that.
Yeah, yes, definitely. So directly for me, like directly contributing into the Flutter SDK is like is not the one way to contribute in the Flutter community, but you can actually contribute in the other packages as well that need moderators, and you can publish articles that actually require some even a small article. Like I have a article that is about list view dot separator, and it's just a small article, but a really good one. Like I really do have many views on it, because many people don't know that there is a list view dot separator as well.
I'm one of the readers. Yes, I remember reading that article.
It's a pleasure then. Okay, so yeah, this kind of stuff actually helps community a lot. So yeah.
So we can help our community in any way, and helping community is nothing but contributing to the community.
Yeah. So I'll go with the next question. So what kind of performance gains you can expect after migrating to null safety?
Oh, so I think it will really depend on what your app is doing, right? So like, for example, if you do a lot of computations, then it could be pretty large, because null safety in some ways is non-null safety, or like before null safety, I don't know how to call it, classic Dart, I guess, had to do a lot of things around numbers that would normally not be needed, because it needed to check things like, oh, is this really 5 or is it null, and stuff like this. Now it doesn't need to. What I've seen is you can expect at least a few % of increase in performance, which is great, because you get the stability and I think easier use of the language, and also you get that. But in some cases it can be like 20% for like one frame, for example, or something like this, right? So it really depends. You have to check for that, but this is kind of the range that you might expect. And note that even if it's like 5%, right? It's 5% every frame, or every time you rebuild, and that means if you've been just over, for example, sometimes you skip a frame because you miss those like 5 milliseconds or not 5, 1 millisecond, 2 milliseconds. Now if you use null safety, you can, even though you only increase the performance of your app by 5%, suddenly your app is looks way faster because it just doesn't jank. So yeah, but you'll have to test it.
Got it. Okay, so next question is again on the null safety. So can a package with null safety be used in other project which is not using the null safety?
Yes, and this is a big deal. I think we all have to respect the Dart team for doing such a thing. It's crazy that you can do it. But by the way, if you're using Flutter 2.0 and if your app isn't null safe, you're doing this because Flutter 2.0, the SDK is null safe. So you're building your app. You don't have anything, like you don't need to migrate anything, and automatically Flutter just works for you like it should, and it is, the whole thing is not safe, right? The same thing goes the other way around. You can have a null safe app, and you can use non-null safe packages, which makes your whole app non-null safe. Like, it's not sound, but it's crazy. They have to think about all that, and they have to make that work together. So this is really important because we didn't want to just break everything and say you have to rewrite everything from scratch now, or you have to, there is going to be a long period of time where you can just have null safe things with no null safe things. But at some point in the future, I guess it might make sense when everyone is migrated to just say, you know what, let's all have some null safety from now on. But yeah, the answer is yes, you can.
Yeah. And like Flutter fix command is definitely a lifesaver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we know that desktop is available on our stable channel. So I know many developers will go for desktop development. So do you have any suggestion for those who are just getting started with desktop application development in Flutter?
So I wonder if Bhavik has more opinions on this than me. I can answer this, but Bhavik, do you want to? Do you have?
I haven't actually worked upon a desktop environment, so I really don't have an idea.
Yes.
But
Yeah, so, sorry.
I think what my opinion is, even before a Flutter web, I think desktop feels more stable to me.
Yeah.
Definitely, it was much faster than Flutter web. Sorry for that, but yeah.
No.
Much faster.
Yes. So first of all, yes, the basically Flutter is a very portable framework. So you can find an article by Chinmay, who's one of the engineers on the Flutter team or Flutter Engine team, who talks you through how to implement Flutter embedding on Raspberry Pi, I think. So like a very small board. And that's an article that is pretty heavy, but like you can read it in 1 hour, and then you can basically copy paste this, and you have a new embedder for like completely from scratch almost for like a new device, right? A new type of device. And so on the lowest level, it's actually very easy for Flutter to go to a new place, like IoT, like Toyota, or desktop. So if you look at the like first versions of desktop embedding for Flutter, they were like really not that big. They were not that because all you need is like Flutter doesn't have any other dependencies. So you just say, hey, I import Flutter Engine. Just like take the bytes from the Flutter Engine and put them over here, and that's it. You just do plumbing, and then Flutter just works. But of course, that's the basic level, and then you need to support all this other stuff. And so that's why desktop is not in stable for sure. Like it is with a flag, but it's not stable. And that's because you need to think about all these little things. And so I guess that's what the question is about. Like, what do you think about? How do you work with that? I think for a lot of people, desktop, and this is a big reason why it's on the stable channel under a flag, is that once you it really helps with development, because you don't need to have another device next to your normal device. You don't need to run a simulator or emulator, and you can change the size of the window any way you want, so you can immediately see how things are responsive or not. And it runs really fast because it runs on a computer instead of an emulator of another computer or a small device like a phone. So that's like, I think just that gives you a lot of options and a lot of value, right? If you want to do desktop apps themselves, then there's still things like you have to sign them for example, for macOS. There's stuff like that. There are things where Flutter, for the material design team, is trying to get you a lot of the desktop-like experiences, but by default, if you just compile basically a mobile app into desktop, it won't look that good, right? Because mobile apps have bigger buttons that look weird and so on. So there are things that we're still working on in terms of things like mouse over and stuff like that. I'm sure that you know it, but or at least some of you know about all these new things. But I guess if your target is, I want to release a desktop app and I don't really care much about mobile, you now can start doing it, and you will face some issues, but you will also see a lot of improvement in the coming months. So just do it.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so I think we have two more questions. Okay, so next one is, how will UWP embedding improves the performance on Windows? And since we know there is a lot of work going on for the UWP embedding on master to replace Win32.
Yes, so this will be a very quick answer, because I have no idea how that will improve performance. I'm sorry, I really don't know.
I don't have idea like what is UWP. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I know a little bit of that, but I don't know what the implications there are. I guess that's it.
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much. And the last one, can you talk about metaprogramming with Dart?
Metaprogramming in Dart. Okay. So we have this. If you go to github.com/dartlang/language, we have this thing. How do you call it? RFC, or an idea that is being discussed around metaprogramming in Dart. Metaprogramming basically, if you're coming from like C, that's macros. That's basically saying, hey, I want to use some kind of programming language for during the compilation phase. So I can say, you know what, like a stupid example is, instead of creating 1,000 variables, I want to write a program that creates those 1,000 variables. That wouldn't really make much sense, but this is kind of the thing. It could be used for example, JSON parsing, because that's a lot of, right now, that's either source generation, which is also kind of a metaprogramming thing, or you have to write a lot of code yourself. So metaprogramming is cool. But it's also significantly increases the complexity of the language if it is done wrong. So, and Dart has always had a lot of focus on keeping the language easy to understand and not too complex. And this is really important. I don't think a lot of people understand this. If you just start adding features to a language willy-nilly, then it will, like, very soon will become an absolute nightmare and nobody will like it. Not even the people who ask for all these features will like it, because suddenly it just explodes and it's not a nice thing to use, right? So everywhere, language designers need to be pushing in the opposite direction and saying, no, we're not going to do this. No, you're not getting that. No, it's going to do much less than you want it to do. And that way you can keep a language easy to understand and nice to work with. Well, it's kind of like this invisible thing where you're writing Dart and it doesn't feel that, sometimes you're writing more than you do in other languages, but at least it's readable all the time, and it's very straightforward, I guess is the term. And so that's what we want to keep. And we think, or the language team thinks, that they can introduce metaprogramming without disrupting that straightforwardness too much. And if that's the case, then it means that you will be able to imagine writing a package that lets people do JSON parsing and serialization just by adding some annotation somewhere. You can do it, or you can create a package that you give it a YAML file and it will create a special widget for you. You can do whatever you want with that, and that also includes support for things like data classes. You can do data classes using metaprogramming. You can do support for a lot of the things that people kind of enviously look at Kotlin for, that aren't possible right now in Dart, or you have to do them using something like source generation, and instead it will be supported by the language itself.
Yeah. So I actually tried that thing. I mean, it was not exactly like metaprogramming, but I used Dart as my CMD power, where I used to generate files for me, and that were based on some inputs like what kind of name I want and what kind of file it will be. Will it be a service file or it will be a UI file? So I guess we are onto that, but not exactly where other languages are who are doing metaprogramming.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think pretty much we are done with the questions.
Hey.
And we have another guy with.
Hey.
Hi,
Hello.
Kumar.
Hi Philip, hi Bhavik, hi Vivek. Whenever we listen Philip, one thing that is common, we literally feel like we are attending that concert of Flutter Boring Show. You guys will relate with me, Bhavik, because there is one thing common in you three, that you three are no. That is one thing common in every community member, that we love
Flutter.
sharing what we love, what
We
we
have
love and
Flutter
what we
in common in between us.
know. Our one love is common, yes, Flutter. So yeah, and if your fans like Bhavik has been recently announced as GD, and we are super proud that he's in our team. So we can have a personal one-on-one sessions with him, that we want to learn this, we want to learn this.
Yeah.
And Vivek is another one who is rising so well in Flutter, that he's putting articles, he's sharing talks, he's giving talks, and learning a lot of things from different corners, and sharing with, like, in this, okay, take this and explore your ways. So these two people, and then we have Philip. It's like cherry on cake, the perfect thing, and it cannot be any better Q&A without you three. So yeah, I owe a lot of appreciation to you guys, because I see a lot of people. I can see your fans maybe are commenting in YouTube and Twitter and Facebook that this Q&A is going so well, going so well. So yes, we owe that to you three guys. And yeah, I see these people have a lot of things, but yes, thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Barbie, for joining. I have a couple of questions for Philip, and I'll take that up.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Thank
Philip,
you
for
guys for
coming.
joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
We thank you together. So since I have the opportunity to tell you, Philip, I must tell you, when we got the news from Nilay that it's you coming from Google team and will be taking up Q&A, guys, hear us out. Like Flutter India team listening us backstage. I'm revealing the secrets. Teams literally started popping up with the messages. Oh, it's Philip coming. We're so excited. Like this is going to be the best one that we have had so far. And that was literally the expression and feel in the group chat in WhatsApp, back to back, some blue hearts and blue hearts, representing Flutter. A lot of blue hearts. Oh yes, Philip. Things like that.
I love it. Thanks for sharing that. It's very humbling, and I love the idea that someone who's known for a boring show makes that kind of excitement in a community. So thanks so much, and thanks so much for inviting me. I'm really humbled.
I wish I could scream that we are so happy. We are so happy that you are here with us for the Q&A and actually putting a lot of lights on a lot of announcement that happened on that day, because that day was actually a big party, or I can say celebration, for a lot of beginners who are into Flutter, even intermediates and experts. And even we got a news from a lot of companies who are taking projects and clients on to work in Flutter. Mm-hmm. That even they're so happy, it's like if I take it in a very lame language, like sounding like a teenager or a kid in candy store, that a client is looking for, I want an Android application on this. Or maybe they just tell us that I want an application, I want this on iOS, I want this for web, and there will be a company. We have Flutter. Okay, we'll get that done to you. So things like that, and maybe for people who can understand Hindi, for Indians, can you guys relate with the word aham brahmasmi? So that Dash is calling that I can do everything. Let it come to me. So that was the thing. But since we have that, you are one of our favorites, and we want to know few things from you. Mm-hmm. When we were in college, we were learning this Java and DBMS and operating system, a lot of these subjects, which actually clears a lot of basics of technical computer system, basically, so that we get more curious and interested that how this actually functions when we do 1 + 1, how that actually goes in binary system and a lot of things. Right. So, and when we started actually in working in companies, the Java that we studied and the Java we worked on, they were two different words. So we want to know your thoughts on that. How was that experience for you?
How is that experience for me in terms of, okay. So yeah, I guess this is coming back to 2011 when Dart was first released. And that was a time when it was meant to be this like alternative language for JavaScript. And at that time I was working with not JavaScript, but at that time there was this thing called Clojure, which was also from Google, and it was basically making JavaScript more Java-y. It was trying, yeah, because at that time JavaScript has gone a long way since then, but at that time JavaScript was really still kind of the same language as when it was invented in '95. And it was more of a scripting language, and there was no classes, for example. There was nothing. And for a lot of people, that was fine. But for someone for Google, for example, it wasn't fine because you need to build these robust big applications like Google Docs and Gmail, and you can't, like, it's very hard at some point to scale that kind of language as JavaScript was back then. So they said, okay, let's use still JavaScript, but it was a library in JavaScript, but like let's basically massage it into something that looks more like Java. So you could have members and you could have something like classes, and it all kind of worked. And at that time I was like very impressed with it, and I started using it. And but I was still, it was still you had to think about all these things. That there's the book, maybe it's not that popular anymore, but there was a book called JavaScript Good Parts, which was this like small book, a relatively small one at the time, and it basically told you how to use JavaScript without shooting yourself in the foot. And then the rest of the JavaScript was like really like you shouldn't use it. So anyway, I used that, and at that time Dart came out. It was not called Dart then; it was called Dash. that's why we have Dash now. And so but then they released it publicly as Dart, and it was not a good time. A lot of people thought that Dart is this like killer of JavaScript, like Google is trying to kill JavaScript or something like this, which was not really the case. It was really people who were fed up with some of the things about JavaScript, tried to make an alternative to JavaScript for Google and other companies like that. Anyway, it didn't go well, and it for a long time it was really a very niche thing to have. And yeah, I guess I'm talking too much, but anyways, and Dart was kind of this something in between. It was not Java as much Java as Clojure, and definitely not as Java, but it was also more. It was the right amount of structure that was more than JavaScript itself, and
properly standardized one kind of.
Yes.
That goes well and meets our purpose of coding and building things using that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and so that's why I fell in love with it. And 4 years later, I joined the team, and now I'm in Flutter and still in Dart as well. So fantastic.
And maybe now you're naming a show which is as boring show, but it's not at all boring for anybody actually. And to make the next question sound motivational, I know that when we are actually learning coding, and we were recently realizing or leaving that term debugging, we literally feel like hitting our head on walls that, dude, this is not working. Why I'm not able to spot that one thing which is not letting this work well. So when you were learning coding, be it for any technology or any programming language, did you feel that when you were learning coding?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and I still do that. Like yesterday, I was working on something and I was hitting my head on the thing here because programming. If you're doing something new, if you're not like repeating exercise all the time, but you're doing some new programming, chances are pretty high that you will come to some issue that is really hard, right? I sometimes think about it as basically, if you're programming, it's like solving math problems every hour for 8 hours in a row, in some ways, right? It's not that, but the problem is that nobody tells you if you've solved the problem right or wrong. And so you're working on this, and it's really hard on your brain. And then at some point you're like, oh my God, I thought that I already solved this, but I didn't. It's very frustrating. And of course, when I was younger, it was even more frustrating because I really didn't know much. I started I started programming when things were in some ways much easier because the programming languages were easier and stuff like that. But they were also there were more idiosyncrasies. Things just didn't work sometimes, and it wasn't your fault.
I can get it.
Yeah.
I can get it.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it's healthy. It's frustrating, but it's healthy to kind of keep pushing and keep being frustrated, because that's how you know that you're working on something interesting that not many other people can do. If it's too easy, then of course anyone can do it. So why do you bother? You still want to bother because it probably pays your bills, but it's better to go somewhere where it's harder.
Definitely. It's like that if we feel like if I'm short tempered and I cannot really, I get angry so easily. Man, you need to get a bug. You lose a temper. You need to get a bug now. And for those people, since it's a community event, and you belong to those that category of people who love sharing things, who love sharing what can actually add value to others in terms of your knowledge, in terms of your best practices, in terms of your learnings and experiences. So that's something that we all embrace so much, and we really want to know, because there will be many people who would for them this word community might be very new. So for those folks, guys, it's just that when you learn something, there will be a lot of people who are not that privileged to get those things that easy in their life or in their journey. So if you can extend your hand of help, please do that. It is always it will come back in a very major amount. That when you help somebody, you are kind of helping them in shape their career, and to understand that, okay, this is something that I really need to do. So I kind of belong to the community which is Flutter Ahmedabad, and I have Bhavik Makwana, who was with you in Q&A, and Bharat and Sani Prasad, who did the recap. I belong to that people, and these are my inspiration, I can tell them. And since the few years that we have started Flutter Ahmedabad, and then we last year when we joined Flutter India, which is now a gathering of 16 plus Flutter Indian communities. So that we really feel so good about. And again, I'll have to mention this, that we love Google's Flutter team, because it's not only you learn and you just tweet about it. No, you actually put a lot of things. You guys give a lot of talks that are not only talk. It has a lot of information that actually clears a lot of doubts, that actually help us to understand the things in very deeper way. And then we have huge and very beautiful documentation to actually go through that at our pace and time. So these all kind of, if we put them all together, that's what we call, guys, community, that you learn and you share with others so that everybody can make most out of it. Because it's there is nothing that you just learn and you keep it till you. No, man, that's not how you will be happy. So we want to know your story of, hey, there we have somebody whom I highly look up to. We have Nilay. Hi, Nilay. Okay, Nilay and Nikita are my kind of god women, I would say. And they are the major support that we are able to put a lot of things together. Since we have you, we want to know that what is the best way to share knowledge with others, according to you?
Oh, yes. So I think I just want to reiterate what you said previously, because I love it. I think one of the big reasons why Flutter is feels good is the community, and the community. It goes both ways, right? So like if we were trying to be nice and everyone else was like, oh, just tell us the code, then it wouldn't do. It would just evaporate. But because it's this like the community is amazing, and you people do amazing things and create events and talk about this stuff and also help each other, then it also reflects on us, and we can kind of work with that, right? So if you are in the community, it doesn't matter how much you think you know or not. A lot of people think that they know less than they do. There's a lot of like underlying knowledge that you have to know about, that it's so ingrained in you that you don't even know that you know it. I guess I don't know if that made sense. But do help others in the community. Do extend the helping hand, because it really feels great to be able to help someone. You never know.
You
never know how like this will be repaid to you, because that like little kid who's now learning Flutter, in 5 years they can be like somewhere completely else, and they can help you with something, right? You make friends through helping other people. And to your original question, how do I think that you can best help others? It's kind of unsatisfying, but it really depends. I think for some people are really good at like YouTube, for example. They are able to sit in front of a camera and explain something, and it makes sense from top to bottom. That's not me, for example. I prefer to be able to write stuff, or like to kind of produce stuff in advance. There's also like just write a sample and create that, or just go to Stack Overflow and like look at questions that people are asking and try to answer them. There's so many things that you can do. And once this pandemic is over, which I hope is soon, like go and meet the developers in person, because that's also how knowledge transfer works best. If you can actually sit with someone next to a computer, or just walk around in the park or something and talk about stuff together. That's probably best. Yeah.
I think you will relate with me on that. Since past few years, when this community thing, the community structure has been in the tech world, tech market, that through GDGs and Flutter communities and other all big communities which are conducting talks, events to help people, to make them network with the like-minded people through which they can take good influence. Actually, not only just talk to them, but take good influence, that they can just see them, observe their journey, and learn something, that okay, I'm stuck here, maybe I can change my way to this, like this. And a lot of things like reading that, which even they sometimes inspire, that okay, this man also got stuck in that, so I'm not the only one. And there is one thing that I strongly feel, I think, and I kind of take my entire team with me when I say I feel that we all are in one world. Whatever we do, if we can extend that becomes a big and a sweet one, and that comes return in even sweeter way, right?
Yes.
And on this note, I think we took a lot of your time, and guys, these are always surprise questions. He was not at all prepared, or he was prepared. He was always prepared. What I mean by not prepared, we didn't share the questions with him, and we kept it even a surprise for him and for you guys. So we hope that you guys could make notes of something, because Ishan told that in the at the starting as well. Keep a notepad and pen with you, because we are going to get extravaganza of Flutter information now, and we really feel that we could make it happen for you. And on this note, I thank you, Filip, from the entire team of Flutter India, for being so generous, for always being so supportive, and for always being so nice with us.
Yes, thank you for having me again, and it was amazing. I loved it, and I think I will rewatch the first part that I missed because I was still sleeping. And thanks again, and see you next time.
And guys, it is 9 a.m. there in the morning, Filip?
It's
or 8
now 9.
a.m.
Yes, it's now 9. Yeah.
Guys, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. What are we doing in the 9 a.m. in the morning?
Well, I don't know. What's the? I think it's pretty late in.
It's 10:30 here, so not pretty late, because it's Saturday, so people are kind of in chilly mood.
Okay.
Yeah, but for you, we again, kudos to you for that you woke up late for us, and you're here with us in the very early morning. Now maybe you can grab a coffee and you can have your rest of the day in your way.
Yes.
Great. Okay, guys. We thank you, Filip, for being so nice, for really being like a party person for us, Flutter party. And on this note, I'll continue. And can I have the slides on screen, Ishan? Thank you. So yes, again, continuing the thank you thing. Thank you, Filip, Bhavik, Vivek, and the entire community. Not only Flutter community, I mean each and every community who helped us spreading the word, and we could reach out to more people who can take most out of the talks that we have planned for you. And moving on further, we have a giveaway, and Ishan has already told you about it. So we have 2 sets of the Flutter Complete Reference Book, and 5 set of the 2021 Flutter Development Bootcamp with Dart by Angela Yu. 3 of them has already been sent to the winners. So guys, please check your Twitter inbox. And yeah, and these are sponsored by the Atsign company and the Flutter book. You can again check them on Twitter. They have some commissions going on. They have some discounts as well. So maybe you can reach out to them and tell them and again, yeah, you can answer these questions to them. These are the same set of questions that you need to answer for giveaway. How this book or course can help you in learning Flutter. Tell us this in using this hashtag Flutter Engage India on Twitter. What was your first Flutter app? You can link the GitHub repo, or write I'm beginner if you do not have any. And tell us your passion for learning and sharing knowledge with others, because we really want to know that if you gain a lot of knowledge using these resources, how will you extend it further? So do answer these questions to us using this hashtag on Twitter, and our team is watching that. So we have some more slots left on giveaway. We'll announce the rest of the winners as well, depending on these answers. Moving on further, yeah. And I hope you guys paid attention to the transition videos that we had, and this welcome keynote and recap. And can we show them real quick? how they looked? New features and improved capabilities of Flutter has been announced on 3rd March. With the same excitement, I want to tell this transition video is created in Flutter by your host of the day, Ishan Sharma, and he represents Flutter Chandigarh, just in case if you want to get in touch with him. And if you want to try your own, if you want to try that by yourself, this is the link. Open that in your Chrome browser and try them in the way you like it. Yeah, so that was it. And because I'll have to mention the team who has worked days and nights to put this together and to make it happen. I remember we kept using the word memorable in our each event, and we really meant it. How? We were like every event needs putting website and social media things and designs and social media content and a lot of few things. And this time we had sponsors as well, StreamYard and Give My Certificate. So big shout out to them as well. And all these things cannot be done, can be done maybe, but we are not superhumans, and we needed whatever resources we had that all together in our Flutter India team. So these are the people. You can see me. I don't want to tell what I did in that, but Ishan was the host of the day. Sunny, Ayush, Maliha, and Himanshu were there in the recap. So that 20-minute session had a lot of preparation and back, and I was there to work with them. So I know they have worked really hard on that. Continuing with Abhishek Doshi from Flutter Valsad and Bharat Makwana from Flutter Ahmedabad, these two were the people who connected dots and got sponsors, even helped us with tiny things that we'll be receiving soon. And we want to keep it surprise, so later on. And Bhavik and Vivek were there for the Q&A. So Bhavik represents Flutter Ahmedabad along with Bharat and Sunny and myself. And Himanshu from Recap and Ishan Sharma, they come from Flutter Chandigarh, who is recently added in Flutter India. And still, you guys can see their contribution, like, wow. And then we have Saurav, who helped us with this little bit of video things and that we needed, and a lot of creative part as well. We have the most experienced IT professional in our team that comes from Flutter Surat, Sanjay sir. And he was there too for the constant review and feedback. So thank you so much, sir, for that. We have Aniket and Vivek. They come from Flutter Mumbai. Vivek, you guys know, he was in Q&A. Aniket was taking care of a lot of social media things backstage. So, and that's why maybe you were getting, if you had your questions and if you didn't get answered, we are really sorry for that. We'll soon get back to you. But the tweets and everything, he was the one man behind it. We teamed up with few more folks in that. Maheshwari Shukla, he represents Flutter Bangalore, and he was helping us with content things. So yeah, we were learning from her. Moving on to the next teammates, they have done a lot of tiny things, even while in helping us spreading the word. We all have our office work or our studies in parallel with a lot of personal and private priorities, commitments. But we wanted to do it for you so that you can have a good evening. You can have a memorable and fruitful evening where you can learn a lot of things. So these are the people, and on behalf of everybody, which I write under behind the scenes, we share the same group that is called Flutter India, along with our own communities. And we really thank you for joining with us. We could not have done this without you. It's not only the team who hosts, it's not the speakers who come, it's the audience as well who make it happen. You guys were giving us questions that can make the Q&A do very interesting. And you guys were helping us with retweeting and tagging your friends on for giveaway, so that we are really happy that the resources we have for giveaway are going to the right candidate, are going to the right people who can really learn and sharpen their Flutter skills. So we owe a lot to you, and we really want to thank you, a big thank you from the entire team. Moving on further, probably this is the last one, but we really want to know, we really want you guys to save the date for Flutter Engage Extended Mumbai, which is on the next Saturday at 8:30 same time. So yeah, do save this. Even they have a lot of great things. You might wish to check out their website to know the schedule and yeah, get yourself registered for that. Even you will have surprises over there as well. And probably this is the last one. Hope you all enjoyed. We really wanted to give you a great time. And we wish to have we would love to hear your feedback and your experience on viewing this video party. Sorry, not video party, wrong word. This session of 2.5 hours that we could put up together. We thank you, Pawan. We thank you, Filip. We thank you, Nikita and Nile, for being so generous and for being so kind and helping us getting the resources, helping us planning the entire event with tiny things that we could make it better, and we can enhance the experience of the viewers. So yes, a big thanks to you guys, Nile and Nikita. And yeah, this was the day we all prepped for. We all were dreaming for, that when this event will come, we people who could not attend Flutter Engage, the main event on 3rd March. I hope the recap could give you some disclaimer or some surprises. Now, we really want you guys to watch out that stream as well on Flutter Engage website, and a lot of community talks and a lot of good things are there. Puja stock and a lot of few things. Not few, actually, a lot more. So yeah, on this note, we end the stream. You can have a great evening. You can even watch it again, and you can share the link with your friends who missed it. And do let us know. Do write your feelings and experience of Flutter Engage. And even if you have questions, I know you will have questions. You can tag India Flutter and use the hashtag Ask Flutter India, and we would be happy to answer those questions. We'll try to, if we are not good enough to answer that question, we'll try to get that question channelized to the resource, to the GD or expert who can answer the question for you. And on this note, yeah, that's it from us. I know that you guys saw this poster and you guys loved it. So, on the last time before I end the stream, this is you were invited and you are still invited for all the upcoming events that we have. And on this note, me, Dash, and my little Flutter Engage invitation card, we thank you for being with us. Thank you.